Thank you. The clerk has taken the roll. I'm going to go a little out of order today before we bring up Supervisor Voigt for the invocation. We're going to do a recognition of one of our employees, our clerk of courts, who's stepping down before we go to public comment, because I have the whole department up here, and so the rest of the county is waiting for them. So with that being said, Supervisor Voigt, if you would please come forward for the invocation. I'd ask the body to please rise and then remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Lord, please bless these men and women as they perform the task of overseeing the operation of this county and giving guidance to the people of their district. Help them to keep our courthouse a safe environment for our employees and visitors alike. Help them to keep Wood County a progressive place to live, work, and raise our children. Lord, in your mercy, we ask for your blessing. Amen.
Amen. Please join the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Supervisor Voigt. First order of business is the minutes from the previous session. I have a motion by Hamilton, second by LaFontaine. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Any discussion? Then all in favor, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. We don't have any excusals today, and we don't have any resignations. Is there any objection to taking all the appointments together? Any objection? All right, for appointments or reappointments today, we have to the ADRC Central Wisconsin Board, Michael Fire. To the Board of Adjustments, myself, Lance Plimmel, and Mark Holbrook. To the Wood County Library Board for a term expiring of 5/2023, Andrea Halbersma. And to the ARPA Funding Ad Hoc Committee, the County Board Chair, first and second Vice Chairs, as well as the Standing Committee Chairs and or their designees. I have a motion by Roser, a second by Lightnum. Any discussion on those? Again, all in favor, please signify by aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? And that motion carries. This is where I'm going to go out of order here for 1 second, then we're going to go back. So bear with me. Since I have the entire office of the clerk of courts up here, I thought we'd do this right away so they could get back to business. This is one of those sad and happy occasions at the same time. We have a clerk of courts who has decided to step down, retire at this point in her career. And this is a really interesting career. And if I didn't know her so well, I probably wouldn't say some of these things. But I'm going to, because I don't think she'll get mad at me later. This is kind of a full circle career. Somebody who probably didn't seem at the start of it, they could decide where they wanted to be, and then found their calling. So I'm going to give you a little background here. Cindy started her employment in February of 1986 in emergency government. 1 week later, she transferred to the clerk of court's office. 1 year later, to child support. Later promoted in the child support agency, and then moved to the clerk of court's office in 1990 as the trust section accountant. So 4 or 5 changes in about 4 years. And there she found her way and found that traction. So after 9 years in that department as the trust section accountant, she was elected on January 4th, 1999 as the clerk of courts. So for almost 24 years, 6 full terms, Cindy has served in that capacity. And during that time, she's worked with several sheriffs, district attorneys, numerous judges, and many of you sit in this group as county board supervisors, or those of you who sit here in this audience as staff. I have found her, to be one of those people who's certainly a friend. She's been a colleague. She's a trusted confidant. And I think one of the things that's most telling is Cindy served a couple of terms on the Wisconsin Counties Association Board of Directors, as recommended by her professional association. So not only the respect internally from our county, but from her association across the state. So Cindy, you probably have a lot more to say than I do, but if you would come forward, I'd greatly appreciate it. Oh yeah, we got that. So the other thing I'll say is, not only has Cindy had 36 plus years of public service, and as an extremely dedicated public service, but you add in her husband, who was our undersheriff, chief deputy as they're called today, they have over a half a century of service in this area, whether it be law enforcement, the judicial branches, to our county, and that's just extraordinary. So, Cindy, on behalf of the Wood County Board of Supervisors, for 36 years and 4 months of faithful service to the people of Wood County, I present you this, and then I'm going to give you the microphone, okay? I'm going to give you a hug. Is that
jurors for the last 23 years that there's a little wooden box in the corner of the jury box that a judge built about 75 years ago for us short shits. I'm going to use that. So that I'm not talking head to you. It's important to me to express my sincere gratitude to some people as I head into retirement. And first and foremost, I want to thank my husband for always being there to support me, and only occasionally objecting when I was totally consumed by work. So on our 47th wedding anniversary today, thank you, David, for your love. I want to thank the people of Wood County for letting me serve as their clerk of court for 23 plus years. I want to thank all of the Wood County Board Supervisors, the judges, the attorneys, law enforcement, and department heads that I've had the pleasure of working with. And finally, I want to thank all of the staff.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have always.
I want to thank all of the clerk of court staff for all of the work that they've done over the years, and in particular for Laura Clark, my chief deputy, for everything she did during the past year, and now will continue to do until the new clerk of court is sworn in. So it's been a long journey. And although I'd like to say that I enjoyed every minute of it, let's just say I enjoyed most of it. I'm grateful to go into retirement with a clear mind and a healthy body, and I look forward to the years to come. Thank you so much for celebrating with me.
Now you can spend a little bit more time up north with your husband, who never seems to come down here to Wisconsin Rapids. Kind of a funny story. This morning I walked into Sherrill Tire very quickly to handle some business, and Judge Zappin was there at the same time. And he said, "What's going on today?" And I said, "Cindy Jostin's retiring." He goes, "I never thought I'd see that day." So even Judge Zappin acknowledged those years of service this morning. So greatly, greatly appreciated, Cindy. You've done a tremendous job there, and I'm sure your successors will continue the fine work done in your department. Thank you. I think while I'm on here right away, I'm going to finish up the rest of these acknowledgments and recognitions if my department has already. The first ones I have are, if Joe Zerflu and Mike Fire would come forward.
I have the honor of taking over for Mike as chairman of the Public Safety Committee, and despite common opinion going around the courthouse today, Mike didn't come back or down from Marshfield to make sure I do a good job. But I have called him on a few occasions. I asked Mike to present the plaque for 25 years of service to Sheriff Sean Becker. Mike dealt with the Sheriff's Department, of course, for his many years as chair of the Public Safety Committee, where many years ago when Sean and I both had darker hair and a lot more of it, I used to run around trying to catch bad guys with it. So without any further ado, Sheriff, if you would come forward, I'd be honored, sir.
As the sheriff's coming up, he had a mention of gray hair and white summary. We all end up together. Sean? I've got a little bio on Sean. In 1995, he began his law service with Sauk Prairie Police Department. In 1997, he started with the Wood County Sheriff's Department on patrol. In 2003, he was promoted to patrol sergeant. In 2005, he was promoted to investigative sergeant. In 2010, back to patrol as Lieutenant Shift Commander. In 2015, promoted to a patrol captain. And in 2019, the people of Wood County promoted Sean to sheriff. I've had the many years of service with our great sheriff. He's one of the persons that has been sheriff, that his department seems to be a lot easier to work with than some departments work. And I would say it's been a pleasure to have served on the Public Safety Committee, and it's been a pleasure to work with you, John. And there's a years of service recognition. This certificate is awarded to Sean Becker in recognition of 25 years of faithful service to the people of Wood County by the Wood County Board of Supervisors. Signed, Lance Blunt.
Speech.
Well, first, Cindy, congrats. It's been an honor and pleasure to work with you throughout the years of my career, and especially working for your husband. Learned a lot, and congrats to you on your retirement, well deserved. Well, I don't know where to really start, and I won't be long, Jason, I promise. 25 years goes by so fast. It seems like yesterday that one of my mentors, Dave Laudy, gave me a ride over to the hospital to do my drug test to make sure that I could, work here and all that. And then now we're here today. I've got probably hours of stories, that I can bring up about working here. I love my job. I love wearing this uniform. I love being part of your team. Right? We've accomplished so much just in the last 4 years. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of being part of the County community and proud of the citizens that I serve. Also, our team at the Sheriff's Department. I can't say enough about them. We're a true team. No one's better than anybody else. We work together, and again, we've accomplished so many things together. And I'm proud to be part of that team. So thank you guys that are up here. You mean the world to me. And I really have to thank my family. Honestly, being a law enforcement officer isn't easy, no matter where you're at. And having, my family, my daughters, Jordan and Caitlin, having my back, especially my wife, Julie, who's had my back for, 31 years now. Yeah, but I love her very much, and I wouldn't be here without her and that support. So again, thank you so much, all of you. It's an honor and pleasure to be part of your team. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. This is the fun part of the job for all of us. Supervisor Lightnum, I believe you have a presentation. And then on board after Bill is done, Brandon, we'll bring you up then.
Jason, you want to come up here? Morning. So as I was sliding by the screen there, I noticed the years haven't been kind. I didn't know Jason Ingberg in 2014. It was September of that year, and we were embarking on my first seed fall bus tour to look at various, it was land conservation at that time, land and water conservation now, and planning and zoning and UW extension projects. I was sitting alone. I had been on the board for 5 months on the bus, around 3 people I sort of knew, and trying to get acquainted. One of the employees, and if you know Lori Arnold, her bubbly personality, I think it was Lori noticed Jason approaching on site. You remember this?
I do.
So now he doesn't know what's coming. Anyway, Lori, I think, said, "Here comes Jason." When he gets on the bus, give him a rousing greeting. Now, I don't remember if it was happy birthday or it was for for he's a jolly good fellow, or hey Jason, I don't remember what it was. But it was at that time that I realized what high regard county staff had for Jason, and that was 8 years ago. In the months and years that followed, I observed how Jason assumed the lead on project after project that probably fell under planning, and that's planning for a better Wood County. So today, we're here then to recognize Jason for 25 years of service, and hopefully many more years to come. His plaque says, in recognition of 25 years of faithful service to the people of Wood County by the Wood County Board of Supervisors. And Jason said to me he wasn't going to say much, but we'll see. Congratulations. Thank you.
I need the step stool here, so. I really don't even prepare today. I find this kind of awkward speaking in situations like this recognition, but I really do appreciate the recognition from the county. When I moved here 25 years ago, I never thought I'd be here 25 years, and I want to say from the heart, this is a truly great place to live, raise a family and work, and that's why I'm still here, and I hope to retire here. I will save my long speech for when I retire someday. But it truly has been an honor. This is from the heart also, working with the county board and the residents and the outstanding staff that we have here. We have different people cycling through. Wood County is very fortunate to have the quality of leadership that we have here and the quality of staff that we have working for the county. And the residents are outstanding. That's, like I said earlier, why I never left this place. I want to thank everybody for the opportunity to serve Wood County. I look forward to many more years. It's truly been an honor, and I feel very fortunate. Thank you.
And Jason, you got at least 18 more years to equal the service of your predecessor, so I'm writing that down now. Brandon Vrewink, our Human Services Director. Brandon, I believe you have a couple of presentations.
Everybody. Good morning. First, I want to congratulate Cindy on your wonderful career. Congratulations on the next step. Congratulations to Sean on 25 years, and also Jason for 25 years. Quite an accomplishment. We have 2 employees in the Human Services Department to recognize today. Unfortunately, both couldn't be here. They've already scheduled to be in other places. We did do a recognition for them in the department, but I also do want to recognize them here today. First, recognizing Janet Carver for 25 years of service to the Human Services Department. Janet processes food share of Adrc applications. The work has evolved over the last 25 years, of course, like all of ours has. When she first started doing applications for assistance, they were in person and by paper. Now we've evolved to different computer systems, from a mainframe computer system now to a web-based computer system. And pretty much 99% of all applications are done over the phone. So it's been quite an evolution, and she's rolled with the changes over the course of the last 25 years, and continues to be there for everybody that needs her. So thank you, Janet. We appreciate your service and everything you've done for the residents of Wood County. Next, we move to a 30-year recognition, and I'd like to recognize Janice Wolf, or Jan Wolf. Jan has been working in a variety of different positions in our department over the course of the last 30 years. Most recently, about the last 5 or 6 years, she's worked as a family resource coordinator. You might wonder what that position entails. Well, essentially what she does is she goes into homes and works with families that are struggling. So families that may be at risk of losing their children because they're not providing a safe home environment. She teaches them parent education, regarding budgeting, how to cook healthier meals, how to safely take care of their children, appropriate disciplining, so the discipline isn't more violent. So really trying to help them get on the right track with their parenting skills. She has a very intensive type workload, so spending a lot of time with individual families. But I can tell you that work makes a great difference, and she's able to see tremendous improvement in how families are relating to their children, in the quality of meals and quality of supervision. So I want to thank Jan for her dedication and her passion for serving children and families in Will County. So thank you all for your time. I appreciate it.
Highway Commissioner Hawk. This is Roland Hawk, our Highway Commissioner. For those of you who may sit in the back of the room and not know who he is, he works in a different building, so you might not see him wandering around in here very often.
I was just commenting this morning with Jason how nice sometimes that separation is. So we're here to recognize John Peckham, and John was hired in 1997 by Commissioner Dave Krakowski as our administrative assistant. And prior to his hire, he worked for a smaller family-style business. When he came to the highway department, he quickly learned how different a large department like ours was when the union workers locked him out of the break room, kept him from using their microwave. So after coming to the highway department, John earned his bachelor's degree working on it at night, one class at a time for 5 years. After 5 years, he obtained his bachelor's degree, and then he waited for another 16 years roughly to get 6 years to promote to our county supervisor. And when John started as our county technician and administrative assistant, we had one computer at the highway department. Everybody shared it. And since then, we've done a lot to modernize our facility, updating our equipment, and made a lot of automated improvements. And a lot of that's thanks to John. He's helped us see things that were done, outdated ways, and kind of helped us move on to common or to new terms today. And our county business has really improved. John said he worked for 5 highway commissioners, and he said each of them has taught him a lot about leadership, construction, maintenance, and I'll tell you, I've learned as much from him about accounting, managing budgets, and keeping an eye on numbers, and I appreciate that, because a lot of times we get moving in the right direction and things escalate, and John is the one to pump the brakes, they slow down. And anytime I need to research records that preceded my time, John can find them pretty quickly. If you've ever been in our vault and you see what we have in there, there's decades and decades of stuff in there. And when I go looking for something, I just stop at the door and ask John, can you find this for me? Otherwise, I'll be looking for hours. And within minutes, John generally comes back with information that I'm looking for. John's an avid golfer and enjoys playing different courses. And anybody who's been in our office may have noticed that we have a lot of prints on our wall with a lot of different pictures of different courses he likes to play. And I think sometimes we shouldn't have put them up because I think John sees those as opportunities to get out of the office early. But it's been a real nice touch to our office. And John's also made the comment that he's been there, there's only 2 employees that he hasn't been there longer than, and 1 tree in the front lawn. And his goal is to stay there longer than all of them. So with that, John, thank you for your 25 years. I appreciate it.
No, really, thank you very much for hiring me. I'm grateful to Dave Krakowski, my former highway commissioner, may he rest in peace, and also to my former accounting supervisor, Jim Alfred, may he rest at the campground. I've been fortunate. I've been very lucky. I've worked with a lot of great commissioners, a lot of great highway committees, and a lot of great supervisors. So I've been lucky. Thank you very much.
Thanks again. This is the fun part of the job, I think, for all the supervisors. I mean, we just truly value these colleagues, these employees. They're talented, they're dedicated, they're committed to excellence, and we're just lucky to have them in Wood County. And I just ask you to give one more round of applause for all of them. Thank you. And thank you for bearing with me a little bit here, taking this agenda a little bit out of order, but as much as we like having them up here, they've got work to do as well, so we wanted to move them on the way. The next item on the agenda is the public comment. Under public comment, any individual has 3 minutes to speak on any topic that's likely to be germane to the board. We'd ask that you identify yourself when you come up to the microphone. And Trent, do we have the ability to put those up? We do, on the screen, the timer. So with that being said, you're on. You're good.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Mike Geary. I want to thank you for your time this morning to express my concerns. There were irregularities and fraud in the 2020 election, and there's more details in the handout that you have in front of you. Our state legislature put many bills to deal with these issues, only to be vetoed by our governor. The illegal activities that occurred along with drop boxes and nursing homes, just to name a few, along with the very reason I am here before you, that is the unethical private funding of election administration, all of which will happen again. I'm here to ask the county board to consider and pass an ordinance in our county, Wood County, to put an end to these practices. No individual corporation, political group, etc. should have the ability to influence our vote. We the people need to know that there be no other factors controlling our voices. Such activities need to be brought to light, and fraud and corruption needs to be dealt with accordingly. This includes the very issue of flooding money into our counties to secure desired income by and for a particular entity. This issue is being brought forth all across our wonderful state of Wisconsin. This is not a partisan issue, and your urgent attention is needed. I have submitted before each of you the resolution for Wood County, along with a printout of the questionable actions that further explains these concerns. Thank you for diligent efforts on your part to remedy and rectify this important issue. Please let it be known that our voices, our vote cannot be bought. Again, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Do we have further public comment? Any further public comment? All right, we will, the process for, oh, please. I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand go up there. Well, I am too, that's our problem. There's too many tall people in between us.
I gotta slow down, I'm walking too fast.
Yeah, we'll turn it back on.
Thank you, everybody. Been here before. My name is Dorothy Schnitzler from Marshfield, Wisconsin, and I totally agree with what's in front of you today. I hope you approve it. This county resolution sends a message to our governor and to elected officials throughout Wisconsin that our elections are not for sale. Support integrity in elections by ensuring that the state of Wisconsin does not accept funding for election administration from political motivated groups. This Wood County resolution is the best way for the voice of our voters to be heard in November. I hope you all vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there further public comment? Is there any further public comment? Any further public comment? All right, so the way anything like this gets processed, these are requests that go to the Judicial and Legislative Committee. That's typically where they come out of. I believe that Supervisor Clendenning probably has a copy of this in front of him, and it's something that typically goes to those committees, and we'll route it that direction. All right. Moving forward then, into our packet, we are going to have a special order of business today, but moving forward in the packet on page 5, we have referrals. We have none. Maybe one now. Supervisor Bill Clendenning, Bill was appointed to the WCA Resolution and Laws Committee. They meet in August. Bill, I think the last date for submission to the Resolution and Laws Committee was yesterday, wasn't it? That's right. Yesterday. But Supervisor Clendenning sits on that committee. If you have concerns or anything else you'd like to see done, talk to him. There are other avenues to get those issues addressed through the Counties Association. All right, we'll move forward in the packet. Operations Committee. They're meeting Tuesday, June 7th on page 6 and 7. Comments from the County Clerk on page 8. from the Human Resources Department, their comments beginning on 9 and running through page 13. Comments from the Treasurer's Office on page 14. I think the biggest comment there is we received our second half of the $14 million ARPA funding, 7 point some odd million. It's in Heather's desk right now, right, Heather? No? Okay. Somewhere between her desk and where it goes. All right, that was the Treasurer. Wellness on 15. And that brings us to the first resolution in the packet. The resolution's on page 16. The accompanying information runs through page 23. I'd ask the clerk to please read the resolution.
This will be Resolution 22-6-1 to tax deed eligible property to authorize the tax deeding of property in compliance with Section 7514 Wisconsin statutes. Fiscal note, taxes with special assessments, special charges, delinquent utilities, publication fee, and tax deeding expense total $396,286.11.
Motion by Hamilton, second by Zerflu. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? All right, all in favor of the resolution, please signify by aye.
Or we can vote on the,
Or we can vote on,
or we can
on
vote
the
on the
board.
board. Yeah, that would be a.
And we do half of it now with motions from the floor. And then we go to the board. We got to get a singular system that works the same. You're saying, please go to the board and vote. We went to the city where it was up, it isn't up. Our old one was, and I got to practice more here.
You want to go back up there, Laura? I'm just asking.
Supervisor Zerflu? Thank you.
Yeah, see,
That passed unanimously.
I screwed up, and I must have programmed the packet wrong, but the total is up on the upper right-hand corner, so it was 19 yes, 0 no.
Yeah. That part I read. So,
well, we've always thought Winch was a fraction of somebody, but that's the only one that I can think of. But he voted yes, so we're good, right?
Yeah, real quickly, luckily we're on camera. Heather, can you just really quickly come forward and just touch on the new process with this, that even if we get this money, we don't get it right away? You want to just touch on that? This was a bill that was passed, signed into law by the governor. Maybe give us 30 seconds on this. That we don't get this money right away and just get to keep it.
Okay, so Act 216 was passed, which means that regardless if it was a homestead or if it was just vacant land, the owner is entitled to any proceeds left from the sale. Most of our properties, we don't have proceeds. My main job is to get them back on the tax rolls, so we do now have to hang on to these funds for 5 years. So I will be coming before the Operations Committee next month to go over that non-lapsing policy that Ed from Finance has told me about, and we'll have to set up some type of account to manage these funds, if any, for 5 years. There was also another clause in there that you need to pay lien holders, and the Corporation Council, Kastenholz and I worked on that along with my association, and we're under the understanding that once the county takes possession of the property, all liens are wiped out, so there are no lien holders to pay. And so we just have to contact the homeowners and hold the funds for 5 years.
Thank you, Heather. So a little more complicated than it was in the past, but I wanted you to hear what they're going to be going through in that office. All right, we'll move on, and I'll try to get this right the rest of the way. Page 24 in your packet, the Health and Human Services Committee meeting of May 17th. The Health and Human Services Committee from May 26th on 25 and 26. The update from the Wood County Health Department beginning on 27, and it runs through page 31, 27 to 31. Report from Human Services begins on 32, and it runs through page 37, beginning with Director Ruinks. We have the Veteran Service Officers Report on 38 and 39. And then that brings us to the next resolution in the packet on page 40.
This will be Resolution 22-6-2 to to amend the 2022 budget for Norwood Maintenance Function for the purpose of funding the capital purchase necessary to replace the failed boiler stack exhaust system. Fiscal note, to transfer $12,500 from available balance in contingency to the Norwood Maintenance Function. At the time of this request, the funds available in contingency are $600,000. The adjustment to the budget totals $12,500.
I have a motion by Supervisor Butke, a second by Supervisor Bry. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? All right, I ask you to go to the board and please vote. And that resolution passed 19-0, 19-0. Next resolution in the packet, page 41, I'd ask the clerk to read that as well.
This will be Resolution 22-6-3 to create .97 FTE Children's Support Service Coordinator position. Fiscal note, anticipated wages and benefits based upon a grade H step 2 total $73,344.02.
Motion by Fisher, second by Hamilton. Any discussion? Any discussion? Again, we'll ask you to go to the board and please vote.
Okay, now I'm going to ask who the two no votes were with a raise of hands. Yeah, I got that one. Thanks. And the second one, who's going to claim it?
We had two no votes, and since the board doesn't show it, we're trying to note who that was for the record. Supervisor Winch was one of the no votes. Do we have the other no vote?
Then I'm going to assume it was 18-1 vote. Okay.
Thank you. Technology is great when it works, right, Trent? Yeah, all right, moving forward in the packet.
The operator knows what's going on. Yeah, it works better.
Minutes of the Public Safety Committee of May 9th, beginning on 42, and it runs through page 45. 42 through 45. The Traffic Safety Commission meeting, March 9th, 46 and 47. We have humane officer reports, various reports from both humane officers. For April, they run pages 48 through 55, 48 to 55. We have the monthly report. Actually, we have a whole bunch of Sheriff's Department reports here that run from page 56 to 75. 56 to 75. Does anybody have any questions on any of the Sheriff's Department reports? I'll give you a second to go through your notes. All right, then as we move to page 76, we have minutes of the Seed Committee, their meeting from June 1st, and that's on 76 through 80. 76 through 80. Minutes from Extension, or actually their monthly update on 81 through 85, the monthly update 81 through 85. We have their annual report. I didn't even have a staple thick enough to go through all these. Pages 86 to 105. 86 to 105, the annual report. We're going to have a special order of business when we conclude the packet. That'll probably cover a lot of this. Move to page 106, and you have the monthly update from the Land and Water Conservation Department, beginning with Caleb Armstrong's. That's 106 to 110. The Citizen Groundwater meeting, 111 and 112. The Planning and Zoning Office, 113 through 116. And then that brings us to, I have two resolutions here that deal with zoning amendments. Is there any objection to us taking these together? Any objection? All right, then Trent, we're going to take these two together.
This will be, the first one will be Resolution 22-6-4. Approve the zoning amendment to the Town of Saratoga official zoning map. Fiscal note is none. And the next resolution will be 22-6-5 to approve the zoning amendment to the Town of Siegel official zoning map. Fiscal note is also none.
I have a motion by Hamilton, a second by Lightnum. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? I'd ask you to please vote. That resolution passed 19-0. Moving forward, page 125, 6 and 7, minutes of the Judicial and Legislative Committee of June 3rd, again 125 through 127.
Report from Director Verwink, the Child Support Agency, on 128. Corporate Counsel Kassenholz on 129. Our Criminal Justice Department and Criminal Justice Coordinator on 130. Monthly update from the Register of Deeds on 131. Victim Witness on 132. And then that brings us page 133, which is the minutes of the HERC Committee, Highway Infrastructure and Recreation. They're meeting from Thursday, June 2nd on 133, 134, and 135. We have a monthly update from the Highway Commissioner and his department beginning on 136, and that runs through 141. Reports from Park and Forestry beginning on 142 and running through 149, 142 to 149. And then that brings us to the next resolution in the packet on page 150, and I'd ask the clerk to please read the resolution.
This will be Resolution 22-6-6 to create one FTE auto mechanic technician position in the Highway Department effective July 1st, 2022. Fiscal note, no additional cost to Wood County by bringing repairs and maintenance in-house. Anticipated 2022 wages and benefits, total $50,861.22.
I had a motion by LaFontaine and a second by Roser. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Please vote. That resolution passed 19-0. 19-0. Page 151, 2 and 3 are minutes of the Property Information Technology Committee of June 6th. An update from the IT Department, 154 through 157. Monthly comments from our Facilities Manager on page 158. And then that brings us to the resolution on page 159.
This will be Resolution 22-6-7 to declare an emergency and thereby allow for the contracting of work to move utilities in preparation for the new jail without bidding when the facilities manager determines that it is necessary to do so. Fiscal note, nothing direct. The resolution would allow for the efficient flow of work in the jail construction project, which, by expediting the process, should result in savings to the county.
Motion by Hamilton, second by Bry. Discussion. Supervisor Roser.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a question just about declaring an emergency. Is that kind of a misuse of doing something like that for this purpose? I guess I'm just looking for some clarification about using that term to declare an emergency. That just seems like a misuse of that phrase.
I'll let Peter explain and why the resolution was drafted that way. And or Ruben, if he's in the room. We're dealing with multiple permitting processes from various agencies as opposed to just doing this on our property. But Peter, go ahead, and the reason.
Thank you. The reason that terminology is used is because it's contained in the statute. So I wanted the county board to use the same statutory language, recognizing that this is an emergency. There are different types of emergencies that can arise. In this instance, it's one that you're protecting the public, I think, in a different way by getting the new jail going this year and by getting things online and the utility work done in a timely fashion so that you can break ground and move forward. So it's different than other kind of emergencies, but it is an emergency, and that's why it's been termed it. I hope that helps.
That helps.
That answers your question. Is there further questions or discussions while I have Peter up there? All righty. Anything further? All right. Thanks, Peter. And Don, you're good. You put the board up there. All right. Without any further discussion, I would ask you to please vote. And that resolution passed 18-1. 18-1. Can I ask the no vote to identify themselves?
Yeah, I know that one.
You know, there is a jail study committee meeting after this meeting concludes. You know, one of the processes here, typically when we're building something or doing a project, we're doing it strictly on county property most of the time. This is when we have various municipalities, other permitting process that have to happen, and we end up with, for instance, 60-day delays between meetings and things like that. And in the procurement process and some of the other concerns in getting this going with the best cost available to the public, this was thought to be the best route to go. So that'll be further clarified. I didn't want to say anything before we got to the resolution. Moving forward in the packet, Adrc minutes, April and May, began on 160 and runs through 164, 160 to 164. We have several of the Fair Board Directors Meeting minutes from February through April, 165 through 170, 165 through 170. The South Central Library System Board of Trustee minutes, 171, 2, and 3. The May 17th meeting of the Jail Construction Ad Hoc Committee, 174 and 175. And then that brings us to, I believe it's not the last resolution because we have a couple others, but next resolution in your packet, page 176. I'd ask the clerk to please read the resolution.
This will be Resolution 22-6-8 to set the funding for the county portion of the Wood County Library's cost at 100% for 2023. Fiscal note, none. This resolution is only a directive of the county board to the operations committee to set the library funding for 2023 at a certain level. The county board will retain the ability to determine the final amounts via the 2023 budget process.
Supervisor Hamilton with the motion, second by Supervisor Zerflu with the second. Again, I want to clarify because I did this. This is a request from the library board to do that. Obviously, the final decision gets made by the board, and I wanted to make sure we weren't obligated totally by this resolution. I was assured we were not. Is that correct, Peter? Yes, he's nodding his head. So it comes forward as a request. Supervisor Rosar under discussion.
So I just want to understand this. So I understand that the final decision is made by the county board, but does this obligate the operations committee when they do the budget to budget at 100%?
That's not my understanding. My understanding is it's a recommendation that came from that board. It's kind of an outside quasi-governmental agency to us requesting that they go to that level. Instead, I think we're required to fund at 70%, and we've gone into the 80s recently, and that varies a little bit year to year as we finalize budgets. So this is basically a request. Is there any other discussion? Any other discussion? All right, please vote. And that resolution passed 18-1. Can I ask the no vote to identify Supervisor Rosar? Supervisor Rosar. All right, as I move forward in the packet, I got a couple of these. The first resolution on 177 was the recognition of the long-term employees. Can I have a motion to that effect? Supervisor Butke, second by Supervisor Bry. I assume there's no discussion. All in favor, please signify by aye. Aye. Opposed, and that motion carries unanimously. The next resolution in our packet deals with the life and service of Louis Rosendick. And a number of you have either worked with Louis, knew Louis through various community involvement. He had it at basically every level. On behalf of, I guess myself, I was his neighbor actually, but our board, I attended those services. And the comment he made to his wife, Libby, who also has a long record of service to our county in various positions, was, if I got done at the end of the day and my obituary read half of the accomplishments that Louis Rosendick did, I would have had a very successful life. He was instrumental in so much that went on in this county for years and years, and I just wanted to share that. So we have the resolution in front of us, and I'd ask for a motion. Supervisor Hamilton, second by Supervisor Clendenning. Is there anybody that wants to say anything on this before I move forward? Okay, then we will move forward. I would ask that all in favor please signify by aye. Aye. And I would want to note that that's unanimous, and then I would ask that we stand in silence for a minute in respect to his passing. Thank you. A couple of quick, I guess, maybe announcements or things I wanted to touch on. A number of you received emails, correspondence, in regard to some of the things that occurred in the Human Services building the other day. We've tried to respond timely, but also not exacerbate the situation and make it worse through the use of social media. So we had press releases that went out to local press, to other people involved, within our communities. Some of those comments have been exceptionally vulgar. The social media, although I use it every day in various forms, is a great way to get out information, but there's no responsibility for it to be correct, and there's no accountability when it's wrong. So yesterday we had a meeting, Corp Counsel Kassenholtz, our HR director, Sue, Lisa from IT, and we talked about policy going forward. I want you to know that we are working on our signage to make that more clear. We had a directive coming out of HR that talks to our employees as how to respond should a situation like this occur in the future. So I just want to give you an update on that. If you would like more privately, I'd be more than happy to share that. And then the last request I'm going to make here is, because I have another conference as well, the August meeting, there's a number of Tuesdays in August, and if there's no objection, I'd like to move that August County Board meeting to August 23rd. It's the fourth Tuesday, but it's August 23rd. Is there any objection to that? August 23rd. So
The fair starts that day in Marshville.
we'll run up there as soon as we're done. So, can you attend virtually? Possibly? Okay. All right, we'll make that arrangement. All right, so we'll plan on that. We'll obviously firm that up. We're a ways away from that. All right, special order of business. Jason. And while Jason's coming up, as they've decommissioned some of the different organizations and groups that work with the UW Extension across the state, the Counties Association found it was imperative and important to have input and to weigh in on what goes on there. So the Wisconsin Counties Association Board of Directors at our last meeting has formed a new steering committee that deals directly with University Extension. I know we have a number of people who served on our Ag Committee that are going to want to move to that Extension Committee because we've already had those requests. So I want you to know that it didn't just go away and nothing in its place. There is something there. So Jason, floor is yours.
Yeah. Thanks, Chair Plummo, Vice Chair Valentine, and members of the Wood County Board. It's my pleasure to be here this morning on behalf of our Wood County Extension team to give you an update of what's happening within our office, share some highlights of our annual report, and our annual report is on pages 86 to 105 of your packet. We kind of thumbed through that and as we went through the packet. So I want to just start off with some general statements here about our office team here. I can't thank our team enough. I work with them on a daily basis. I oversee, as you can see from, actually I didn't have it on the slide here, but I cover 4 counties, one being Wood County, the other 3, Marathon, Portage, and Clark counties. But actually, as I shared at the C meeting, this last meeting, I'm also filling in for a counterpart of mine who moved on, and I'm also the area director currently in Chippewa and Dunn counties. So I've taken on more responsibilities in this interim, and so again, it's my pleasure to be here and dedicate the time to you all this morning. As we look at 2021, and I'm going to focus on 2021 in particular this morning, but there's a lot of things happening here in 2022 that I'll mention to start things off. And one of the biggest things is what Chair Como just mentioned, the transition of the WEX committee, Wisconsin Extension Association Committee under WCA, to form a new steering committee, the UW-Madison Division of Extension and Education Committee. And if you're interested, those applications are due by July 1st, if my memory serves me. Thank you. So those that are interested in being part of that steering committee, I would invite you all to put your name in there, because the support that we get from you as supervisors and from WCA is very important to help drive our work statewide, but also on a local level. I'll mention that we also strive to really meet the needs of Wood County in its entirety, but inevitably there's only so much stuff to go around. Resource scarcity is truly the life that we live, and you look at funding, the resolution for the library and what that looks like, and looking through that, they're looking for increased resources financially and service there. So we try to be excellent stewards of the Wood County taxpayer dollars, as well as state dollars and our federal dollars, and I'll explain that as we get towards the end of it. But one of the things I can't give accolades to our team enough is they take pennies and they turn it into mountains of productivity. So thank you for your support in that. And the last thing I want to just kind of draw your attention to in the life and service of Supervisor Rosendick, if you noticed in there, he was a 4-H educator in our office here before. So we have a strong tradition of extension here in Wood County, and look to have that for many, many years to come. So we give you the board. It's in your board packet on pages 86 to 105. And I'm going to cover some brief highlights here to not, hopefully not get long-winded and as we go through. So we have 2 ag educators or ag staff in our office here in Wood County that serve Wood County and the surrounding areas. Matt Lippert, who's our ag educator focusing on dairy and livestock. He splits time between Wood County and Clark County. And then also Allison Johnjack, who's our Cranberry outreach specialist. Her position is unique, and she's the only one around the state. As Wood County is the cranberry capital of the world, if you will, it's important that we have somebody working on that. And Wisconsin is the #1 producer of cranberries worldwide. So I think one of the things that I want to highlight is looking at the Heart of the Farm progress, a process of season to transition. We know that farms are not your traditional farms, maybe as they once were, but those that are transitioning out of that traditional ag arena, how are we engaging farm women in managing the farms and engaging new and emerging, I guess, crops or production? Traditional practices are, I guess, we're finding different ways to do the same work with less resources. So no-till drilling, working with land and water. There's a no-till drill in that office that farmers can rent out. So Matt Lippert goes out and talks about different ways of engaging clientele in those new practices. Forage production and farm profitability. Farms are not as profitable as they once were. Sometimes it's people working outside the home to supplement the farm income. So he's working on how to make turn that production around to make it more profitable. Soil health is a big thing, not just here in Wood County, but across the Central Sands. And one of the things I want to draw your attention to that's just happening now is in the last biennium budget, UW Extension was allocated $2 million for outreach specialists in various sectors. And Central Wisconsin, which includes Wood County, was the recipient of an ag water specialist that focuses on soil health and managing our water resources through agriculture best practices. And I'll go through the Central Sands Groundwater County Collaborative is engaged in that process, and I'm happy to report there's been an accepted offer, and we're looking to have that person start. They'll be based out of Stevens Point, working with Kevin Massard, who's an extension specialist, and that's new resources to help our Wood County residents, you as a Board of Supervisors, to move things forward. And Cranberry field trials, again, with today 90+ degrees, how are those fruit crops adjusting to higher temperatures, pest management, and so there's a lot of field trials that Allison Johnjack is involved in that benefits not just the Wood County growers, but the state of Wisconsin in general. And if there's any questions, I would entertain those maybe along the way if that's all right by the board. Community development, so many of you had experience, had worked with Nancy Turk in our office. She resigned towards the middle part to late part of last year, and that's in your packet. And she's sorely missed. I tell you, actually had a conversation with her just the other day of how much she's missed in our office as a team member. And to Wood County, I've had actually other department heads say, when are you hiring the new Nancy? When are we getting that person back? Because she's a valuable resource to us and to the county. And so I'm sad and happy to report that we've had 2 failed searches in her hiring her replacement. We've made offers, and those have been declined because they did other job offers. It's a highly competitive market, and we actually have a new batch of applicants that we're screening right now. So I'm crossing my fingers, and I would knock on this podium here that in the near future we'll have Nancy's replacement here. So she was highly involved in the Central Sands Groundwater County Collaborative, and I think you see that a couple times in our packet here, and that is a multi-county project that members of the Seed Committee are a part of, and even citizens from Wood County and other counties are invested in that as well. And the READY plan. So in your packet, in the annual report, outlines the 3 main areas of the READY plan. So she was active in getting those aligned and starting to implement those. So it's all about, what good is a plan if you can't start implementing parts of the plan? So she was really active in moving that forward. And then lastly, Clean Sweep. This is something that we've been doing, our office has been doing for decades. And a special thanks to Public Health, and I know Sue is, she's left the office right now, but Ben from her office has been helpful for the past couple of years in doing that and actually moving this forward. So we get grant dollars from DAPCAP to do that. We had over 200 vehicles go through the Clean Sweep process, or I'll call it the carousel because it was no-touch transfer last year. So that's keeping those products out of the Wood County landfills. It's getting to appropriate recycling centers with that one-day piece. So we get, like I said, those dollars from DAPCAP, and we got some additional rollover just last month, I believe, the Wood County budget. So human development and relationships. This would be your old family living kind of program or homemakers. It's been retitled to really be encapsulate the work of Jackie Caratini, who's in that position right now. In 2021, we were coming out of most of the COVID processes and procedures that were statewide, and different organizations were dealing with some trauma as a result of that. You look at public health and human services, school districts, you name it. They've been, I guess, taxed to the extreme. And so Jackie's worked with those departments and other people to really look at how are they taking care of themselves coming out of that. Financial literacy and capability. So you see a picture in the annual report about her working with Head Start and other families that are involved to make sure that the money that they've either gotten through any stimulus dollars or adjustments in either loss of employment or new employment in the ever-flowing employment market are being best utilized for the families. And then heavily involved in coalition work. And one of the coalition pieces, there was a large grant through the Marshfield Clinic that she's heavily involved in now in 2022 that will have some benchmarks to report out for next year. But we do highly value our community coalition partners. We do not work in a vacuum. We do most of our work through collaborations with other departments and or agencies across the county. Natural resources. This was a new position that we hired, I believe 3 years ago. Rachel Whitehair is in this position, and that is a partnership within Extension with DNR dollars through the Central Wisconsin River Watershed project, as well as Wood County, to focus in on just the water quality and the natural resources that we have at our disposal in Wood County and the Central Wisconsin area. So working with the farmers of Mill Creek Watershed, you've probably heard this time and time again, either through Shane and Land and Water or from our department. It's a producer-led watershed group that is also being replicated across the state. So there's the Farmers for Tomorrow that's in Forage County. And so she has worked tirelessly with that group and John Aaron to really improve water quality and manage farm management practices in that watershed area. Science by the River was new as a way to get our community engaged in the work of our natural resources. And so that was a new venture we had last year that actually has taken root and built some steam. So last year, I think there was 8 booths on the river here, on the river walk, and we've expanded now. I know Rachel was working on at least up to 12 now and planning that for the fall. So it's a great opportunity to engage our community in what we're doing and what's happening in Wood County. And then the Central Wisconsin Farm Profitability Expo. This used to be the Land and Water Conference. It's been rebranded, but it's partnering with Shane and Land and Water to do this, to bring stakeholders together about how the farms can be profitable, but also best management practices to preserve our natural resources. Horticulture, Janelle Ware is our horticulture educator. She's only less than half-time in Wood County, and she does amazing work in less than half-time. So you can see a couple of things that she's done. Master gardeners are still a heavily engaged population that we work with. They are volunteers. We leverage them to bring it out to the community, and they are great resources for us when it comes to, if Janelle's not in the office, they handle some of the bug questions they get, some of the plant identification, some of the disease identification that we get this time of year. Actually, when I was in the office this morning, somebody brought in a wilted plant, and we were able to help them diagnose it and get information to our specialists in Madison to make sure that they're keeping abreast of what's happening statewide. She was instrumental in a new program statewide, and it does impact Wood County because we've had a number of Wood County residents take this course, and that's Foundations in Horticulture. This is a way for us to leverage our master gardeners and trainer program, if you will, that allows them to really maximize their benefit. And she was one of the leading authors of this curriculum, and it's a statewide curriculum now that anybody can participate in. And I'm proud to say that she's offering that here in Wood County and as a Wood County educator. And then adult and youth outreach programs coming out of maybe July of last year and some of the, again, COVID procedures. There was a yearning from adult groups, either the Rotary Club or the Kiwanis groups or whatever you have across Wood County here, and our forage clubs to get out there and get your hands dirty. There are therapeutic benefits of gardening, and so her phone was ringing off the hook of like, hey, come on, present to us, get in the gardens with us, get out in the fields with us, and so she's really taken that to the next level, and I'm proud to say that the Let Us Be Different, which is in your annual report, is one of those opportunities that she engaged youth in. There we go, Foodwise. And Foodwise is a federally funded program through the SNAP educational dollars that are administered by the state of Wisconsin via extension. So we have 2 staff members in our office, Hannah Wendels and Kelly Hammond. We're actually adding a 3rd, and that's a Foodwise administrator position for multi-counties. But we had a return of the Strong Bodies program, used to be called the Strong Women's program, but to be inclusive of I guess, all populations, men and as well, are struggling. We work with ADRC and other groups in local townships and villages to bring out weights and stuff to keep them physically active. During isolation of last year and in 2020, it's good to have this back in person, and so they're getting up and being active. The Stockbox program is a brand new opportunity for Wood County, and I'm glad that we were able to forge that partnership, so that's in your packet as well. It brings 30-pound boxes of health and wellness pieces to those that are, just homebound through ADRC and the Sweps Food Pantry. This is a no cost for Wood County. It's a partnership that we've engaged in statewide with a partner to get that here in Wood County and Marathon County, as well as Portage County now have this program. So we're excited to be able to bring that in 2021 and moving forward here to Wood County. We were finally able to get back into schools. Our education is based on free reduced lunches, and so based on that criteria, we were able to go in person and teach about health and wellness, and Anna was able to get into those classrooms again. And then the last thing is we partnered, the Foodwise program partnered with Public Health and UW-Madison and Farm to Facts on a $200,000 grant that has allowed us to kind of incorporate EBT with farmers markets and allow those SNAP dollars to be used in different areas for quality food and infusing that into local productivity. So you have local farmers that are benefiting from those SNAP dollars as well from their produce. So that's an ongoing process, and there's a staff person that was hired in public health to assist with this. So it's a great opportunity that we're able to partner with. And then I guess one of the programs that you may hear about the most is our Forage program. It is still active and thriving, even on a down cycle. Over 500 members still puts us in the top 10 statewide program, and that's a testament to our staff. It's a testament to the community and buying into what's being offered through Extension, our youth development program. It is a program that's sponsored and supported by the USDA and NIFA, and we're able to provide additional resources this last year. We actually hired an additional staff member. Jasmine Carball started with us actually the spring of this year, but that was set in motion last year. So we're able to infuse more staff management into that program and make it more robust. And we offered summer camp again, which is great. The kids were chomping at the bit to get outside again and be active. So we were able to offer that in 2021. And we just actually wrapped up camp this last week between Wood, Marathon, and some other counties up in Rhinelander. So that was I got some good pictures and updates from the staff that were doing that. And then really focusing back on the Youth Adult Partnership part of our program. We couldn't do what we do in Forage with our adult volunteers. And we leverage those through general leaders and club managers. And with those adults, the youth feel more engaged in what they're doing. So across the state, we're actually seeing increased participation in public service, and public boards. So across the state, there are some that actually, Forage Youth are on ad hoc members of county boards or city councils and the like. So that's through our Youth Adult Partnership Program that's been brought here to Wood County. We hope to see something like that in the future. The last thing I want to mention before I get into kind of how we're funded is it's important that you understand your investment here locally leverages the statewide network. We have specialists at UW Stevens Point, River Falls, Platteville, integrated specialists at UW Madison, and because of your investment, we oftentimes bring up those specialists. The example in your packet in the community development arena is the postdoc, Dr. Carla Romano, and that's through a partnership with Madison, and because of your investment in our local educators working in that arena, we can leverage all those resources. Kevin Massar coming over here. And so it's that old Verizon commercial, you think, can you hear me now? And then you see all the people behind them that you can connect with. That's us. We are an integrated network of over nearly 600 employees across the state. And so we can leverage specialists that are either in a neighboring county, either a neighboring institution, because of your investment in our services here in Wood County. And our staff do a great job of leveraging those resources to the betterment of Wood County residents. So how are we funded? The age-old question of like, well, where do you get your money and what do you do with it? And so the analogy I like to use is we're a four-legged stool. If any one of the legs kind of falls off, we fall flat on our face. And one of those primary drivers is you as Wood County and Wood County government and county board supervisors. We get appropriations through the annual budget, and I'll talk what that looks like here in a second. And that supports local educators, 4-H, ag, and you determine via seed and at the board here of which positions you would like to see in the office. So the other one is the state of Wisconsin through UW System. We're a division of UW Madison, and thus we get appropriations through the UW-Madison budget as a division, and that's through the state budget process. And then the U.S. federal government, the Smith-Lever Act of 1914, appropriated federal dollars to cooperative extension services, which we are, even though our name is not cooperative extension anymore, we're still the division of extension, so it's no matter how you slice it, it's still the same thing. And roughly Wisconsin gets nearly $10 million that's remained flat for the last 10 years. But we get those dollars and they're appropriated back to the counties. They're not caught up in administration in Madison. They are specifically for county-based educational services, so that does filter out in the cost share that you will see here on the next slide. And then we always look for grants. Our staff are highly engaged, so you saw the $200,000 one with public health. We're actively recruiting that. Well, it may not be reflected in our budget, it may be in the public health budget, but those sort of things we're actively engaging in bringing in extramural funding to do that. So how does this look for Wood County? So you see that it's broken out by funding partner, Wood County Extension and other, and then the cost for services. So our educators, our number one resource in our office is our people. We don't have a budget for, we don't have a CIP budget. We don't, contract out for a lot of other services. The contracted services are our educators. And so it's a flat fee per educator unless the county invests in for the full-time piece, if there's appropriate dollars. So the cost per FTE is roughly $44,000 per staff member. And then the state picks up the rest. So you see the educators and staff fees on the contract is $285, and that is you got all the educators that are listed there in your packet. We have administrative staff. We have 2.8 FTEs. They're county employees, and then we have 42,000 in operational expenses. So you see, we're very staff heavy because we invest in the people who go out and do the work in our communities. And then where does extension? Where does the state of Wisconsin? Where does the rest of the money come from? It's through the extension budget through UW Madison and federal funding, so roughly $141,000. The Foodwise staff, as I mentioned, they're 100% federally funded through the state, so those staff members, roughly 1.5-ish FTE because Kelly split through multiple counties. My services, I do not receive any county money on my position, but I do serve Wood County. I'm blessed to work with some great department heads and actually currently chairing the department head kind of staff meetings for the last couple of years, so I'm glad to work with those fine folks. But my services are on behalf of Extension to Wood County. And then we do get technology support, so our Zoom licenses, our Microsoft Office licenses come from our state contracts, and so it doesn't come out of IT's budget. And so we're able to bring that back to Wood County as reciprocal. And then you see some other grants and donations. So it's roughly a 60-40 split if you look at percentages. Extension covers 40%, and Wood County covers around 60%. We try and go for a 50-50, but we're so blessed here in Wood County that the committee and the county board have invested in more educators than maybe your Portage County or Clark County, because you love the work that we do, and I'm thankful for that, and it's a reflection of our team, not me. I just get to stand up here and talk about all their good work. So with that, I want to, just one last thing is the extension leverage funding, if my clicker wants to work. Oh, there we go. The volunteers that we leverage, it's hard to put a price on volunteerism, but we're going to attempt to do that. So you see in the Forage section of the annual report talks about leverage funding for volunteers being almost $230,000. And I've extrapolated that to include master gardeners. So the sector of organizational nonprofits gives a value, and the current value is roughly $30 per hour for volunteerism. So if you do a conservative estimate, I'm talking conservative, because if you ask any Forage volunteer, they put in more than 5 hours a month into either their club or their program, or even master gardeners put in, this time of year, they're putting in 10, 15 hours. So if you did a conservative $5 a month for all of our volunteers, that equates to nearly $275,000 annually that we leverage in our volunteers that go back into Wood County. And the service that we do in our communities through our young people, our adult volunteers, master gardeners, you name it. So with that, I want to thank you for your time this morning. It has been a pleasure to be here, and pleasure to serve Wood County. I've been with Extension here in Wood County for approaching 5 years, so I'm not in the same, I see Sheriff Becker's still here, so congratulations. And Cindy, I know she has left, and other folks, Jason, Janet, Janice, and John. And so I don't have many years of experience as they do, but someday I hope to be up in that echelon of serving Wood County in the same capacity through Extension moving forward. So with that, Mr. Chairman,
questions? Anybody have any questions? Guess not.
Thank you.
I can tell you, I appreciate what they do. I had the opportunity to be appointed to one of their affairs groups, basically look at this, and I can't tell you how much, I didn't know how much I didn't know until I participated in the group, so I thank you for that opportunity too. UW Extension's here, use the resources that they have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jason. Anything else? Anybody have anything else? Laura, your meeting is immediately following in room 114?
Yeah, the chairman signs.
Okay. All right. With nothing else, we will declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you.